All right, what's up everyone? So I'm getting ready to go out for a run, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to introduce the concept of dynamic warm-up, which is going to be really good for us runners. Whether you're a morning runner, it's the first thing you do when you wake up, just kind of getting the blood flowing, or if you've been sitting at work all day and get a little bit more exposure to different range of motions that you haven't used while you've been at work. Now, one of the key things, this is different than static stretching. So static stretching, you typically are gonna hold for 30 seconds to a minute. And I'll kind of demonstrate, this is gonna be more of a rhythmic, kind of in and out of our end range of motions. And then this is just an example. So this is one that I've kind of developed myself based on my training, my injury history. So try it out, see what works for you. But if you have questions about things that you can do or ways that you can implement this, feel free to contact me and we'll try to put something together that's tailored for you. So I like to use, I do most of my dynamic warm up on the ground. I'll make a second video that is gonna be a little more tailored for those of us with mobility impairments or injuries if you can't get on the floor. So stay tuned for that later this week. But starting out is just gonna be a calf stretch. And typically I'm gonna do about 10 to 15 reps at each of these. Again, just kind of flowing rhythmically in and out of the end ranges for each. So starting in more of a push-up or like a downward dog position, you're gonna do kind of similar to these mountain climbers, just holding for a couple of seconds at the end range for each. From a side position, that's gonna look like this. So getting to where our hips are up in the air is gonna add a little bit more leverage. You could always kind of push through your hands to rock back if one leg feels tighter than the other. So for me right now, right feels a little bit tighter, so spend a little bit more time on that side. Next, you're going to bring one leg forward. And what we're looking for here is working on hip flexion range of motion, as well as getting a little bit of abduction and external rotation, so our knee kind of going out to the side. And so we can do this by, I like to give like a little target for my elbow and just slide down the shin. Depending on your arm length and how flexible you are, you might be able to get your arm to the floor. But again, just kind of working up and down through that range of motion. And then we can add in a little bit of thoracic mobility by reaching up towards the sky. So we get both thoracic mobility and some relative hip internal rotation. Again, just with the goal of getting multiple positions of exposure before we get out and hit the road. Next is going to be a hamstring stretch, so a stretch for the muscle on the back of our thigh. Just kneeling down, and you're just kind of sitting back. Again, from a side view, I'll switch legs so you can see it easier. You just kind of sit back. You don't have to have this leg completely straight. One big thing I want you to pay attention to, toes pointed up towards your nose is going to bias our nerve, our sciatic nerve a little more. So try to keep your foot either pointed down a little bit or flat on the ground if you can. And again, we're just kind of sitting back like we're going into a chair. Again, feel that stretch kind of from the back of the knee all the way up the back of the leg into the glute. You can bias this and make it a three-dimensional stretch by adding, so the sit back, and then we can shift our hips side to side, or we can rotate our trunk and kind of feel that stretch shift from more the inside of the leg to the outside of the leg. Okay, from there, we're gonna now work on, so the front muscle of our back leg, our hip flexor, and just kind of lunge forward and back. Now, one of the common things that we see when people do this that I want you to avoid, we're not just arching back, okay? Yes, we get good range, but we're getting mostly movement from our low back. So we want to think about squeeze your glute and then just lunge forward. So all of this, your torso should stay nice and upright. And then again, just feeling a stretch right in the front of that hip there. Same principle as a hamstring stretch. We can add some triplanar or three-dimensional movements. Reach our arms up and then reach to the side towards the leg that's up. You should really feel the stretch start coming up kind of into the lower abdomen. Or we can rotate. Again, towards the front leg. You can rotate this way, but you're definitely going to feel the stretch more as we rotate towards the front leg. Now this would be a cycle going through one side, right? We've done the right side hamstring, left side hip flexor. You would go back to the start, do your calf pumps again, go through the whole version that other time. Again, this is an example of a dynamic warm-up. If you have questions on how you can implement this into your training, whether you're running, you're doing CrossFit, whatever you're doing, let me know and I'm happy to help.